Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Hexcells. So we have 45 blue hexes that are slowly unlocking what we need to get to the end. It seems like if we want to get to the final category, you're probably going to have to get every single puzzle up to that point done. We're starting with group 3 here. Numbers outside the grid show the number of blue hexes in that column. So this is new, and this is going to be slightly interesting for me because I have a tendency to confuse columns and rows, but I think the way it's oriented, it would be kind of hard to confuse that because of the way that they're hex cells. So we don't really even need this because we know just by this 4 that each one of these are right. But then this is saying there's another one here, which is, we don't need to know that, because this 4 tells us that, and then it says there's going to be 3 here. That's fine. Now, here, on this puzzle though, we totally need that help, because without that help, we would just be random guessing, like you might do at the beginning of a Minesweeper game, which is kind of unfair when you start trying to play Minesweeper at the max settings, as big of a board with as many mines. Of course, so these zeros here allow me to click here, and then these zeros here allow me to click here, here, and this 0 here allows me to click here and here, and then this 0 allows me to click over all 3 of these, which then leaves this 1 for that, and then this 2 says that one's one of them, and then this 1 says that one's one of them, and then we know because of the 3 here, and pretty much only because of the 3 here, that this one is one of them, except for the fact that we also know that there's 1 remaining. So that would be 2 ways you could solve that issue. So no mistakes, and we only got 2 hex cells, so they did kind of lower the number of blue hex cells you get when we started the new category. Numbers like this in parentheses give you additional information that 3 hexes are consecutive. Okay. Numbers like parentheses 3 give you additional information that the 3 hexes are consecutive. Well, the only time they use 3 here is here. So does that mean that is right? No. Well, we know 1 is here. Does it mean this and this? And then so that and not that and not that. So they're consecutive, but there can be spaces. Interesting. Well, we know this one has to be these 2, right? So that solves that issue. And then we know that the middle here has to be included there. And then when you've done that, you've gotten enough information to know these 2 can't be it. So it has to be those 2. Because this 3 was already touching 3, and we couldn't be touching more. There's 1 in this column, there's 4 in this column. So here what we can do is we can say there's 1 here, we know because of the length of this column, and then work back that way, we know there's one here. So it could be 1, 2, 3, 4 this way, or it could be 1, 2, 3, 4 this way. Either way, we know this one's included too. That immediately tells us that this one's touching its 2, so that's it for that. And then this one's touching 3, so that includes this one. So that solves this column. It is still a question about whether this one is not, but we'll soon solve that with this number 1 here. So that means this has to be it. And there's 2 remaining, 2 spots remaining, 2 remaining here, 2 supposed to be in this column, and this one's touching 2, so we know all of that works together. It kind of feels like you spend the number of blue cells you have. So this has taken the concept of being somewhat like Minesweeper and just thrown that out the window now. There's unquestionably a lot more going on here. This is a lot more math. I think these are called parentheses still, the curly brackets. They may just be called curly brackets, actually. So this is interesting. We know it's these 2 because this one, it has to be touching 1, and it still won't say it's touching 1 because of this. Because if you were going to say this was touching this and that's a 1, then you would also say this was touching this, and that would be a 1. So what we have to assume here is this one and this one are it because they're consecutive and they don't care about spaces, but this does care about spaces. And we were right. This one's only touching 3, so we know all of those are right. This one's touching 0. This one's only touching 3, so we know that's it. And since this is a consecutive 3, we can just go ahead and put that there. And this is a consecutive 4, so we can put that there. This is a 1, so we can get rid of that. This is only touching 2 now. And this is not 1, so that's it. So what do we do now? Well, we know that this one's going to be included. It has to be because it's a consecutive 3. And when you know that one's going to be included, it can't be that one. And then all of a sudden, when you know that one's not included, it has to be these 3, which then just eliminates this completely, which then leaves this column here with only 3 consecutive. This again confirms that. Nothing else really confirms that this is 1 besides the fact that there's only 1 remaining. I hope people are following this logic. I'm probably going a little fast here. So as soon as we solve that, we know that was it. Which means we can eliminate this and eliminate this. Include those 2. Ooh, this is not good. I have to learn something new here because at this point I can't go any further without just some random guessing. And we definitely don't want to just random guessing. So what does this say? Way down here, numbers like this, -3 give additional information that the 3 hexes are not connected. Okay. So that's the opposite of the curly brackets. How does that help me? It doesn't really help me on this row, but it does help me on this row. In fact, not being connected only kind of works in significantly fewer examples in my mind. This tells me that it's here and here, because that's of this column the only way you could have two things that weren't connected. So that allows for that, and then all of a sudden I can start clearing things off there. But does this solve anything for me? If there's no number above it, does that mean it's a 0? I don't believe that's really the case. Actually, we know it's not the case because there was no number above this, and that was not 0. So we cannot make that assumption. We have 9 more, so potentially you could try to guess here, but I wouldn't want to. And what it looks like here, alright, this column will work. Since we've already done 2 here, we can eliminate these. And since we've already done here, we can eliminate these. I was thinking for a second we were going to end up with this being unsolvable until the very end. So if we could get a little bit further this way, it would help. But I really don't even know how we're going to get this section done unless we manage to mark off everything but 2. This is interesting. What am I missing? We've done this, which means this is good. We can mark that. Good. And then we've done this one, and we've done this one, which means I can eliminate that one. Okay, and so this one now moves this into the section. So we can just clear out this whole area. This one is only touching that one, which means we can eliminate that. And since there's only one here in this column, and both of these have to be touching 2, it couldn't be this one, because then this one wouldn't be satisfied. And it couldn't be this one, because then that one wouldn't be satisfied. So it has to be this one. There we go. So that helps us a lot, more than we probably think, by telling us there's only 3 remaining. And one of them has to be in here. And then, let's see. So because of this, I think if my logic's not flawed, this has to be it. What can't happen is, for instance, these 2 can't be both filled. And since it's 2 non-consecutive, we can already eliminate this. And so since this one's touching 3, we already know that's the solution. Which means that's not 1, which means that's not 1, and that's not 1. That leaves 1 more, and we got it. They're getting more complicated here. All of a sudden it's real math. We may actually end up slowing down the process of how much we get done in a recording at this rate. Two not together almost guarantees this, right? Yeah. And then four together guarantees this one, and this one, and this one. One here doesn't guarantee anything. Let's see, three together guarantees this one, there. So we're feeling a lot more like it's, instead of giving us blue cells or empty cells, it's now making us work a little bit harder from the beginning to figure things out. Again, I kind of wish I had an audio control. It's probably a little loud. It's no great way to adjust it when it's not built into the game. And maybe a little repetitive too, as far as the audio. What are we... Okay, this one's already been satisfied. That allows that. And then... No, that doesn't help. That doesn't help. That doesn't help. There's two here. Does that help with anything right now? No. Wait. Oh, I misread this, didn't I? So, because there was only three here, we know that this is... What? Two not consecutive. And I just clicked on that and I was wrong. Why are they not consecutive? Oh, because this is what's making it not consecutive. Alright, fine. So I don't know how I would have done that next step without making a mistake and guessing. I missed something there, definitely. Direction, takes that out, includes that, which takes that out, which that 3. So that really, because of this point, doesn't help at all on this side. 3 consecutive. Which means, now that I've recognized how I was misreading the map, that those 3 have to be it. And that means that can't be it, which means that has to be it. And that has to be it. And that can't be it. And that can't be it. This one is touching 2, so that's it. That's out. This one's only touching 1, so that is in. This one's only touching 3, which means that, and that, and that, and that. There we go. That one's gone. This one's only holding 1, so I can get rid of that. This one's touching 1, so we include that, which excludes that one. Which then this 3 includes this one. And now it's only touching 3. And I hit the wrong button. 2 mistakes apparently were enough not to get me everything I wanted. Interesting. So I have to start again. So So we can start with this. So let's move here quickly and see if I can remember things. And that way I can kind of avoid having to go through this whole thing and logic out everything the same way I had done before. There's 2 in this column. So I don't remember any of the other rest of the solution. We'll have to play this puzzle again. This one's touching 2, so that one includes that, which means that's out, which means that's out, which means that's out, which means that's in. This one's only touching 2, so that's in, which means that's out. That gets that side done, fixes this, takes that out. There's 3 consecutive here, which means that these 3, which takes that out. And then since there's only 3 here, that one's out, which means that one's in. And that one's in. This 3 includes that one, takes that one out. And there we go. No mistakes, which gets me up to 72. So I assume that the 0 here is the number of things you can get out of this, but it's not. It's actually instead the number of things you need to unlock, and since we've unlocked everything up to this point, it's at 0. So again, there's no real marker here that's very helpful as far as solving which one did we not get everything in. If there was one, we haven't gotten everything in. So I don't know what I could do. I guess next, if I ever make a mistake again and don't get all of them, I could always go back to the main menu and see if it perhaps leaves it as orange until you have all of them or not. Otherwise, what could happen is we could get 83 more blue gems and then have to go through every single puzzle. I would go through every single puzzle in a backwards motion, seeing which ones I solved incorrectly. Trying to find that one blue gem. I don't think it's really going to be an issue though. At this rate, it feels like you get such a high number of blue gems that by the time we're done with this, we will be definitely have unlocked this, and by the time we're done with this, we will probably have definitely unlocked this. Unless this is actually 100%ing the game, which it might be, because this game doesn't feel like it's super long. Well, we really don't have time to go to the 4th chapter, so that we did one episode to do just one chapter. The first episode that we did 2, but with this new math and this new concept and complication to it, things got a lot slower. And I imagine what's going to happen in the next recording is that we'll get a new complication too in chapter 4. That's it for this recording though. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps me out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.